Hi, we are here at African Book Hub, and we are with Rose Mwangi, the owner and the proprietor, and we'll be chatting with her and also discussing some of the African authors that we have. It's amazing that Africans are writing, and we are here to promote, celebrate, and encourage our African Christian authors. Thank you very much, Rose, for having us.
Karibu sana Modoni. It's really good to have you, and good morning to all the viewers wherever they are. We are happy to be here today.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I've just done a summary introduction.
Yes.
Maybe you can introduce yourself.
All right. Yeah, my name is Rose Mwangi. I am the owner, the founder, and the current business leader of the African Book Hub. Beside that, I'm also a trainer, and I train on entrepreneurship with a firm called the Rising Entrepreneurs. And most recently, I am also an author of a children's book called Aziza's Gift. Yeah, so those are the various hats that I'm currently wearing.
Awesome.
Modoni.
Very
Yes.
nice book. We'll be talking about it in a bit. Maybe you can tell us a bit of history. Why did you get into book selling? Too many careers out there. Why book selling?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, there are many careers indeed. My story is actually a story of my life. The story of the Book Hub is a story of my life. And why I say that is because I love books. I really do love books. And I have loved books since I was a small girl. So I have interacted with books in different perspectives. Of course, the normal reading books, but story books and magazines and newspapers in different perspectives, and just loving that experience. And so at some point in my life, when I thought about what is it that I can do that is going to bring me money, but is also going to be something that is from my heart, I thought, I love books so much, so why don't I just turn this into my trade or into the thing that I do on a daily basis. Of course, also looking at the society and thinking about the transformation that people that read can be able to experience. So that's how the Book Hub was formed. It was formed out of my love for books. It was formed out of a lifelong experience because my dad was a bookseller. So out of a lifetime of just interacting with books, and that's where we are now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting. When we came to the bookshop, we found Rose's daughter. So you hear it's coming from the father. It went to Rose, being passed on to the daughter. Very amazing.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us what is the vision?
The vision for the African Book Hub basically is to encourage or to nurture reading amongst our people. There's a statement that has been said that annoys me quite a bit, but I know it's because at sometimes when there's truth in something, then it keeps you awake, that if you want to hide something from an African, then just put it into a book. But the truth is the wealth that is in books is so much that we spend so much time looking for wealth in other ways. If we started with reading and opening our minds to what is happening around us, to what has happened to the people who've gone before us, to what is happening to the world, then our experiences would be a lot more easier and a bit more richer and deeper than when we just decide to go it that way. So for me, when I do what I do, is because I know that there's a rich investment that you can be able to get into or from the books, and that can be very impactful on whatever journey you're walking, whether it is as a parent, whether it is as a business leader, whether it's as somebody who is teaching, whatever your profession is. There's so much that you can be able to harness from books here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Not a trick question.
Yes.
If you were to do it again,
Yes.
if you were to choose your career again, would you still choose book selling?
Yeah, you said not a tricky question. You know, by default, that which you love has a way of drawing you to it. And a lot of what I would love, Modoni, is honestly around book. I would love to teach. I would, in fact, in some forums, some people tell me that you would make such an amazing teacher. Probably, I don't know if I missed that ship or I can catch up with it. And you know, with all that I am learning, because besides selling books, I read quite a lot. So with all that I'm learning and with all the experiences, I wonder, could I make a teacher? But I think every experience that we go through adds up ultimately to what we become. So I love what I'm doing today. but I'm open. I'm very open to opportunities. The world is very vast. Yes.
And purpose is unfolding.
Exactly.
So we don't know what is in store for you in the future.
Absolutely.
But I pray it's still, in line with books. Now, tell me, do you think owning this bookshop has changed your life?
Tremendously. It has changed my life tremendously in that I have been able to interact with people from all corners. Of course, there are those that walk into the bookshop and you have a beautiful conversation around books. I love recommending and interacting with people, knowing what season they are in their lives and what we can then be able to add value in those seasons of their life. I love interacting with children. And now, given that we have a direct way that we can be able to reach out to them, that enriches my life in such a beautiful way. When I go around schools, when I go into churches, when I go into conferences, it provides me such a great connection to the people that are around me. So that has enriched my life in a very significant way. Beside that, it has created a whole network, like people like yourselves. I wouldn't have known you if I wasn't running the book hub and many other.
To meet you. It's been an amazing relationship.
Isn't it? Yeah. So I think my life is much richer since I began the book hub. And because I love what I do, it encourages and challenges me on a daily basis to become a better person, to become better at what I'm doing. So definitely getting richer by the day. I wish there was a way of just putting a price tag to all of that, but most definitely we have become a lot better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice store. I love the yellow. I love the different colors, the blue. I don't know what that blue is. If you're to describe this store, African Book Hub, in 3 words.
I think one, it's beautiful. You're right. It's beautiful. And that's a lot of the comments that I get when people walk into the book hub. And there is a lot of life, passion that is connected to the bookshop. There is relevance. And one of the things that you will notice about the book hub is that we may not necessarily have a very wide collection of books, but what we have are deep reads. So if I want to do, and that's what I was telling you about deep, I was saying that whatever titles that we bring to the book hub, they need to fit into our deep categorization. And when I say deep, I mean they need to be delightful. You see, that's where beautiful is coming in. They need to be enlightening, they need to be empowering, and they need to be bringing progress to the people that are reading them. So when you talk about the book hub and the literature and everything that we are deep, we are delightful, we enlighten, we empower, and we provide progress for the people and the readers that connect. That said, we also, because we cannot operate without the writers. We cannot operate without the writers. So the question then is, what then do we look for? We look for deep when we are connecting with the authors as well. Books that will delight, books that will enlighten, empower, and bring progress to the people. So that's how I would be able to connect that which we do at the African Book Hub.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You've talked about deep, and I really appreciate that. It's one of the negative impact we've created with self-publishing, where people are rushing to be able to do their books. A book needs many years to be able to be perfected. And a lot of research and inspiration, and putting in your everything into it.
Absolutely.
Having said that, tell me, do you have different categories, different genre, or are you specific on any particular genre?
Awesome. I think for us, we are general. We stock on all categories of people. And that was a business decision. That we made, because there are seasons to life. There honestly are seasons to life. And in every season, it requires you to approach that season in a different perspective. So for us, I know there is a season where we do so well on the Christian literature, we do so well on the school books, we do so well on the business books. So the fact that we have that wide spread of the books of the books that we stock at the book hub means that we can be able to cater to a wide category of people, and also we can be able to be in business through the seasons. We just just finished a back to school season. That season is dedicated to textbooks. And if you are not connected in that way, you're going to miss out. But then that season does come to an end. Are we going to close our doors? There are obligations that we need to meet on a day-to-day basis. So what happens when the children are settled in school? So that's how bringing in the other titles, like the Christian titles that you are adding to our store today, bringing in the stationery items that we have already at the store, that makes us relevant through the year. And it also means that when somebody walks into the shop at any given season, they will definitely walk out with something relevant.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know we have a culture of also selling used books. Would you say you stock only new books, as in unused books, or do you also sell the second-hand or used books?
Currently, Muthoni, the business strategy that we have is around new books. It's around books that have come. Yeah, it's first-hand. It's the current books that we stock are first-hand, and that is the business strategy that we have right now. Yes.
Awesome. And it's okay. It's okay to specialize and know this is what I want to do. When somebody else can do something different.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Tell me, what's the hardest thing about being a bookseller?
I think the hardest thing, especially if you're a bookseller like me, I get annoyed. I'm like, why can't you see that these books are going to turn your life around? Yeah. So at times I'm like, this book, the book like now, The Gift of Presence, by Jimmy Nzioki. I'm thinking you're struggling around what is it that you can be able to do to be a bit more present. And I have this book, it's right here. The price tag probably is like 500 or 800 shillings. It would be able to change that perspective, or it would be able to be useful. So at times I get upset that we have got so many titles and so much wisdom that is hidden in books, but not enough readers. I'm excited that there are coming up a lot of writers amongst us, and as you have said, the quality of writing is becoming a lot better. And I think the greatest assignment that every one of us has is to make our people readers in our own small ways and big ways, depending on how much has been entrusted to you, is really to make people readers. So I feel where we are at now, we have no shortage of books, but what we lack are readers. And whatever efforts that we must put them towards making people readers. And of course, from a place of understanding how that can transform people, how can transform families and transform communities and societies from that place of understanding.
Awesome.
Yes.
So our readers, you've heard from Rose, what is missing is you, and she has a lot of content here to be able to change your life, to be able to change your family, to be able to change your business. So you come to African Book Hub, you come and she will recommend. Do you recommend to people when they come?
I will recommend to people. And it's interesting because most of my recommendations probably up to now are from a place of I have read. I know, I understand. I know, of course, there are so many titles, but at times you don't need so many titles to become an authority, or to become to be able to sort a certain area of your life, or become enlightened in a certain area of your life. So I recommend both from what we have on the store, from what I have read, from the reviews I have received from different people, and that then makes your buying experience a lot more better than when you have to just buy blindly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's your best moment in book selling?
My best moment, of course, is when I recommend a book and then I get another beautiful review from that book. When somebody tells me that the book that I picked from your store has been able to help my child in this particular area, has been able to address an area that I was stuck at, something like that. So when ultimately people are able to connect with the wisdom that is in the books, whether it is a child, whether it is like now I'm getting extremely excited when I continually receive reviews around the storybook that we have written. So that for me is what makes me extremely excited and happy.
Awesome. You're on Kiambu Road. How do you reach your readers?
There are many ways, and I keep telling my staff that if you have opened a door or a shop and you don't market, it's like a young man who is trying to woo a girl, and he's winking at her in the dark. You know, can you imagine? And of course, getting frustrated that she's not noticing that I'm winking at her, but it's dark. So that's how important marketing is to a business. So beside the fact that we have a physical shop, that then those that are able to walk in are able to come and see, we also have an online presence. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook. We do, of course, now WhatsApp has also picked quite a lot, so we use that as a platform. We have the online website that people can be able to go on and see. So those are currently the platforms that we use. But then we also connect with people. We connect with people like yourselves. We connect with authors who have written books and letting them know, let your people or people who want to read your book know the book is available at the African Book Hub. Because as I have told you, Muthoni, we really need to put a lot of effort behind making our people readers. So African Book Hub on its own cannot do it. Neither can CLC. It has to be a combined effort among the authors, if you're a teacher, if you're a leader of an institution, if you're a trainer somewhere, just recommending that people connect with books so that they can be able to get the transformation that they need. So there is that which we do as the African Book Hub. There is that which we call people to be able to become brand ambassadors. I would believe that as many authors as are coming to our shelves from our CLC would then be able to become brand ambassadors and pushers of the message, because we need everyone for us to be able to be effective in that which we need to do.
Awesome. It's actually what the Bible says, that what every joint supplies. So we need to come together and be able to do this together. All right, so authors, you've heard from Rose. You need to let your readers know that your books are actually available at African Book Hub. Now, it's been a tough season with the pandemic. How has that affected the season? How has it affected your book selling from your perspective?
A very, very, very important question. And I say important because this season has been unprecedented in many ways. Muthoni, I started our shop from our house at that particular time, and we made progress from that house to an office in town, and from the office in town we came to another building that was up there. We were on the second floor. It was a small shop, and then in March last year we moved into this place. Now that changed dynamics in a lot of ways. From a house, no rent, no employee, just you. To an office, one employee, not much rent. To a shop up there, the rent is lower, maybe the traffic was a bit lower as well. To this place, all dynamics changed. That was in March last year. The rent is higher, you got to hire staff, you got to provide a bit more towards the utilities and all that. And in that very month, COVID hit. Schools were closed. And I was like, what is it that we are going to do so that we can be able to survive through the season? So it's one of those moments where you call yourself for a meeting and you're like, there are things that have to be done and they've got to be done through this season. And for me, the first thing that I said is it's a season. It's a season, it will come and it will go. But will it find us? Will we still be found at the end of the season? So having said that it's a season, it's then what is it we can be able to do as a business to be able to flow through this season? So you make business decisions. You decide I might need to bring down on the number of staff I have, but with an understanding, the reason that I want to do this is so that we can preserve. We are on self-preservation mode, all of us, okay? You have conversations with the landlord. You tell him this is the season we are in. How can we be able to stay in business? Of course, you invest in God because God carries us through the seasons. So you find out what is it we can be able to do as a business. Now, the beautiful thing that happened in COVID is that despite the closure of schools, people had more time in their hands. So the encouragement then was, with this much time that you have, invest in yourself. And I can tell you for sure, Muthoni, there was an upturn in the people that were reading through that season because people understood I can use the season to invest in myself. Of course, that was giving us a lifeline to be able to carry through the season. The other thing that I said to myself is that the economy has not completely shut down, Muthoni. There is some money that is flowing somewhere in the nation. And then the deliberate question I asked myself then is, what is it that I can do so that a part of that resource that is flowing through the economy is also coming to us. And I know there are people that I jokingly told that we are essential services. You know, that's a mindset, because once you sort your mind, it settles you on many things. So me, I told my mind, we are in an essential service, and because we are an essential service, we really have got to continue doing what we did. So in as much as the resources and the income at that particular time was not as much as it has been through the season, I can tell you we'd never ever fail to do of our monthly obligations, whatever we needed to do. So there is a factor in it. There is the decisions, the business decisions that we put so that we can be able to sail through the season. And at the end of the day, when the season turned, because indeed it was a season, and even now it is a season. When it turns, if it finds you that you're still there, then you continue. You will. The chances of you progressing are very high. So those are some of the things that we did so that we could be able to survive through the season. And honestly, Modoni, I can tell you, we are far ahead than where we were in March. When we started, we probably had just a shelf of books on this side, and that side had no shelves. Now you can see the shop has gotten shelves on those sides. And again, it's also out of my belief. I believe that we are consistently making progress every single day. If you came here 2 months ago, we didn't have these shelves that we have in front of you. So for me, I believe in incremental growth. I may not. I told you the lights we just did. If you came 3 months ago, it would have been dark. We would have needed your lights, you know. So I believe in step-by-step growth. I believe that when you establish your roots, you will be able to sail through whatever season that you're going through. And again, Modoni, I must tell you, I love what I do. I really do. So that gives me motivation. Even when the business is really down, it just tells me, Rose, you just have to keep on doing this. So that has really helped. And I'm happy that we have been able to sail through the season. And I'm happy for those that we have been able to carry through, because we were able to call back the staff when the season turned. So I'm happy that in some way the business have been preserved. We have been able to preserve a bit of sanity around us, and of course livelihoods around us, and for that we really give thanks to God.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah
Awesome. Wow, I can feel the passion. So
it is real. It is real.
And I did watch your interview on one of the TV stations.
Yes.
And you're talking about how, your father really encouraged you towards reading.
Yes.
And for me, I tell parents, please encourage your children to read. They may not turn out to be booksellers like Rose, but there's power in reading. So parents, we are also counting on you.
Yeah.
Now I have a few fun questions.
Yes.
If you are to invite any African author to come for a book signing in your bookshop, because you really love them, you love their work, you love what they do, who would that author be?
That's almost a tricky question, because I deal a lot with books. I've read a lot of books, and there are the obvious authors that we all dream having. Authors like the Ole Soyinka. Authors like Chimamanda, whom we have the books. But most recently, I connected with a book. It's called Beyond My Dreams. Beyond My Dreams is done by a pastor in Nigeria called Adeno, and I really I love Christian fiction, and there is a way that book is able to transform the message in the word in a fiction way, and you are able to love people and love God a lot more. I would love to be able to connect with her. So if I was to invite an author right now, that probably would be the lady that I would be bringing on.
So we are calling on you. You said she's called?
Beyond My Dreams, she's Pastor Adeno.
Okay. So we're inviting you to come to Africa Book Hub in Nairobi, Kenya. Awesome. You've said as a bookseller, you have to love reading, because then it has to be born from that passion. What are you reading at the moment?
Modoni, I am currently... I honestly have 5 books. If you look at my carrier bag, I have 5 books. It's not something that I do quite a lot, but the season that I am in demands of it. So currently I am reading, one of the books that I'm reading is actually right behind me. It's called Christianeurship. Christianeurship is your spiritual MBA to business success. Just connecting your who you are to that which you do, of course, from a Christian perspective. I'm reading a lot of the books that are on the that you are bringing in, Thorns and Thistles. I saw it here.
Yeah,
I saw it here.
It's actually there. Marriage, thorns and flowers.
Yes.
Marriage, thistles and flowers.
Thistles and flowers.
Yes.
So
Barney and Grace are joking. We see you.
Yeah, those are some of the books that I'm reading. So I read quite widely.
Yeah.
I just recently finished a book called It's a She. It's a She is a book that is on our shelf.
Yeah.
I'll be locating it here. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's a She. It's a memoir of a pastor from in Liberia, and narrating her journey in a war-torn Liberia and how that has impacted their upbringing. So those are some of the books that I have read, but I'm always on a reading. And again, let me talk to readers that even to reading there are seasons. Yeah, even to reading there is a season, okay? Because at times we are so hard on ourselves that for the last 1 month or 2 months I've not managed to read. We go through these seasons, every one of us. There is a season I'm so hungry to read. But then there is also a season where I do not want to get into a book anymore. And that tells you there is a need to change strategy. And the way to change strategy, that which you have read, find a way to share it out, to send it to somebody. If you're a trainer, utilize some of the information you've read. If you're a parent, utilize some of the information that you've read, because there is no point of reading, and you're never churning out that which you are reading. You're never impacting more people than yourself with that which you're reading. So it doesn't matter. It could be you're driving your son to school, but you read yesterday about something and you pour it out. So just like there are seasons in life, even to reading there are seasons. There are times I just want to read business books, and you can tell that's all that I will read. There are times I want to read on parenting because I now have a teenager in my house, so I want to know what do I do to be able to raise or to be able to take care of this teenager. So I want us to be able to embrace seasons even to reading. That way you're not frustrated when in a certain season you're not seeming to behave the way that you ought to. Again, there are books that are relevant depending on what season of life you are in. So if you're a young mother and you're going to be stuck in your house, rightfully so, for the next 3 months or 6 months, then invest in that season to know what the best I can be able to do. If you try to reading something like How to Make a Million or what the 1 Minute Millionaire, and you are in the house and all you are doing is taking and nursing a child, then it can be a bit frustrating. So it's rhyming your reading with your season. That becomes very effective, and then you're able to draw most out of that which you're reading because it is aligned to it.
And it's applicable at this time.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes.
What's the most weird thing a customer has ever told you?
I think for me the most weird thing is, do people read?
Yeah.
Do people read? Do Kenyans read? And I'm thinking, I have had to answer that question in many forms and in many places. So if you find me, I'm selling books, and then you ask, do people read? And some of the ways that is not as I am trying to ask, because then I'm polite about it. But it is one of the things that we are consistently having to deal with. And probably that would be it. Yes.
And the nicest thing?
The nicest thing that a customer has, I think it's when people ask for recommendations, for different recommendations. And I have already told you that one of the things that really brings me to life is when somebody said, I read and it solved this. And it's not necessarily solving, by the way, because at times you just need to have a light moment. You need to have, some experiences of some fiction books, some novels that are very well written.
Yeah.
So just that the book that I read was relevant to my season, that just brightens me up. Yes, that does.
Come back and say the book you recommended, I've been able to move forward with life. That is usually such a blessing.
It's such a blessing.
Bestseller.
Yes, and beyond that, when you push it forward now to some other people, then that becomes even more incredible. Yeah, when you recommend it to other people. Yeah.
Awesome. So you sell international books, or internationally authored books, and you sell African books.
Yes.
Which is your best selling in those two categories, for international and for African?
I think the best selling titles are currently, from an international perspective, there are those titles that will sell in and out of season. Books like The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, books like I have them in my shop. They are Promised Land by Obama. They are books that will sell in and out of season. Yeah, and we have come to categorize those books almost like classics. Books that every bookshop must have. Books like A Leader Who Had No Title, so The Richest Man in Babylon, The Monk Who Sold. Titles. Those books that we say every person needs to read once in a lifetime. So there are those books that trend in that perspective from an international perspective. Locally, we have seen uprising authors in different categories that their books are doing extremely well. And one of them that I'm extremely, extremely proud of is my sister's book, Give Me My Mountain by Esther Mushemi. An accomplished entrepreneur in every perspective, and her book being able to sell thousands and thousands of copies since its publishing. And a lot of the titles that we have here are local titles, but that are doing extremely, extremely well. So I think with enough activation around the books, we are going to see a continuous increase in the uptake of our local. And what I like about our local titles is the fact that they are very relatable. If you talk about marriage from an African perspective, and you become an authority in that, then I'm able to connect with it. If you talk about parenting, I'm able to connect with it. So without disregarding those international titles, because in every book, and that's one of the things that I believe, that it's not necessarily everything that is in a book that will resonate with you. So even in those titles, you will pick stuff that you'll be able to carry through. But when it is made in our context, when it is made with our family settings, our business environment in mind, then it becomes a lot more relatable.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Please tell the readers how they can connect with you.
All right, so for all our readers, we have our shop. This shop is on Kiambu Road at Opo Building, just next to the Quick Mart supermarket on the lower ground floor. You can follow us on our Facebook page, African Book Hub KE, the same on Instagram and the same on Twitter. Our website is africanbookhub.co.ke, and also can feel free to call us on our lines, which we shall provide as comments to this. Yes.
Awesome. Tell me about this.
Now, this is my heartbeat right now, Aziza's Gift. Aziza's Gift is a storybook that we have done with children, for children. And what you see up here, it's called the Auntie Jana series. So that tells you there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more. So Aziza's Gift, we actually came in collaboration with a publisher whose role is in content creation. Of course, that's what you people as publishers do. And mine is connection. I love books. I will connect you with the schools. I'll connect you with the children. I'll do all that. But why the Auntie Jana series? The Auntie Jana series is a set of storybooks that have a moral lesson to them that can then be able to entertain the children as well as teach them and raise them up in a certain perspective. Aziza's Gift, the moral behind it, or the value behind it, is on identity, on the need of our children to be grounded in who they are. Because when you are grounded in who you are, it doesn't matter what storms you go through. You will come through them one way or the other. So the story of the girl just finding herself as far as identity is concerned, and being bold and confident to participate in competitions, to participate in class and all that. So that is the value that we are wanting to pass in Aziza's book. Now, what I must tell you, Muthoni, is that we have gone beyond ourselves, and I think that is expected, as far as the layout, as far as the content, as far as the illustration of the book is concerned. In our editorial meeting, we were thinking, how do we want to represent Africa? How do we want to illustrate Africa? Because I know that oftentimes people have had the mindset that Africa is a poor continent. Africa, you find mud houses, you find people that are, I know all that,
Lions walking on the street.
There are lions walking, you know. What is Africa? We are the best placed people to be able to represent what that is. So if you look through the pages of our book, you will see that the illustrations are rich. You'll see they are well done, and they are bringing out a certain element about us that we can do it. We can be able to do it, and we can do it well. Beside that, at the very end of the book, we have tried to draw out the lesson. This is the lesson on identity. So it doesn't matter if it's a teacher who wants to use the book in their class. It doesn't matter if it's a parent who wants to know whether their child has been able to understand. They can finally sum up the story in the lesson on identity. And we also have some review questions to just test the understanding of the child as far as the story is concerned. And finally, children love being engaged. They love activity. So there is an exercise for them to be able to do. So with this, we've set a standard for all the other Auntie Jana books that we are going to be releasing, and the thought line or the behind it is that we want to make our children love reading. So even as you look at the paper, you look at the illustration, I want children to love to own that book, because we are deliberate about nurturing reading among children. When we start there, our work even in the years to come will be very easy, because we will have already made readers of our children.
Awesome.
Yes.
Nice chatting with you. We brought some books today. Maybe we can look at a few of them. So I don't know what you think about this particular book.
So the book is The Gift of Presence. At times I think you can just get a lot from just the cover of the book. The Gift of Presence. This guy, he's missing in this, but I can imagine that he needs some time to be in the presence. He can bring some time to be in the presence. I love the fact that the font is actually quite friendly. The font of the book is quite friendly. Having not read the full content of it, I would then say that it makes me want to read the book. Just the fact that this font, and those are the basics, by the way. When you are wanting to write a book, also invest in the journey. Just talk to a few people and understand what is it that would make a book sell. And those are some of the things. From the cover page, how have you been able to title and to illustrate your cover page? What is the font? By the way, people are very keen on the font these days for reasons we all understand. Our eyesight has become a big challenge. So, and also to make it reader friendly, I would want to look at the language and the way that has been used inside the book. So that would be my brief comment as far as that is.
Book cover, authors, book cover is very important. I know they've said do not judge a book by its cover, but it's not true. In book selling, the readers are going to judge your book by the cover. Maybe we can look at The Power of Solitude.
Okay, The Power of Solitude is right here by Dr. Pamela. Okay.
What do you think about this topic?
The power of solitude. Who wants to be silent in our world that is so noisy, you know? But yet it is so important. I think our world has become so noisy these days. And at times you think you're silent, but then you're not as silent. So I think it's something that we need to go back to. Just that power of having just some solitude or some quiet time by yourself. And I think she's talking about a pandemic. We are in a pandemic, a silver lining during a pandemic. So perhaps it's one of those books that I too need to read, because it has been so noisy around. It has been so noisy around us. So again, very well written. I love the font in this book. I would love to engage with it a bit more so that we can be able to evaluate the content. But Dr. Pamela, I think she has written for our time.
Awesome.
Yes.
Let's look at Just Scream.
That one that made me laugh.
Yeah.
Where is it? There we are.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you saw the title, you're like, okay.
I think the title just calls for that kind of a reaction. Just
the
scream.
power of title.
Just scream. And I'm thinking that if I just picked out this book, it would tell me that there's no need for me to hold back. There's no need for me to hold back. So there are many ways I can be able to interpret this message depending on where I am at. If I am at a point of a very down season and wondering who is it that I can be able to talk to, and you're carrying a lot with you, then you just scream. But then let me go back to the subtitle. Inspirational nuggets of hope for the youth. Oh, he's writing for the youth. And we need more people to write for our youth. And to write in a way that draws the youth. Because I believe that's one of the areas that I would want our youth to be able to connect with literature a bit more. And if we can write content that is relevant for them where they are, then I think we would be doing so much justice to them. So just scream, You want the youth to scream? I would love to hear.
Asking the youth to speak out.
Yes.
So that, you're seeing so many cases of, young people, committing suicide and suffering by themselves, and just say, what, you can speak out. Just say what is going on, and let somebody else listen to that. Sometimes problems are so big in our hands.
Yes,
until you share out, and somebody gives you some wisdom, and you're like, oh, this thing was not as big as I thought. And so that is that's Just Scream.
Okay.
My Pain, the second one.
My pain shall end. Oh, that's a determined person. Yes. My pain shall end in glory. Yes. By David Mebude.
Yeah, this is a Nigerian pastor, or pastor in Kenya.
Yes.
From Nigeria.
Okay.
And he's just talking about the struggle he went through.
Yes.
Losing first, not being able to have a child, and being stigmatized not to preach in churches because he doesn't have a complete family. I mean, it just sounds so out there. And for 13 years, they could not, get a baby. So their ministry was not progressing because you come with your wife, pastor's wife, and pastor's babies.
Yes.
And that's the power for that community. And so the wife passed on after 13 years. And so very difficult time. And then he got married again. He moved to Kenya, and now they have their children and they're doing ministry. So he's saying for sure that pain has ended in glory.
Awesome, and amen to that. I think the power of what I would want to say and I would want to commend is the power of a story. The power of a story when it is authentically and realistically told. And we have so many stories amongst us, and those stories have the potential to transform people or to speak to people's lives. So I love that he has then shared his story, and I love the mindset that he has adopted in sharing that story, that pain cannot be wasted. So as many stories as we have, let us keep sharing them. And anyway, we are Africans, we love stories. Let us tell these stories.
Actually, like one of the chapters where it talks about the 3 things to be aware of in your season of pain. So if you want to know those 3 things, African Book Hub, they have the book. Let me see, another book would be let's see, I think we are okay. Helen, is there another book we've missed? So there are so many other books that we came with, and we'll be sharing with you so that you can be able to come and explore and just hear what other African Christian authors are writing about. I like something you said, which is something I'm very passionate about: contextualizing our content. You see, when you talk about marriage, you bring in, I'm assuming in your book you're looking at the intertribal issues that we actually have. you're talking about how do we prepare, because it's our setting. There's an African dynamic that, or challenges and strengths that we have. And so when an African writes, they can be able to address some of those things. And there's nothing wrong with international content. We also have international content here. But to say that we are encouraging African Christian authors to be able to write. Yes, Helen, which book? Sorry? Another Fabulous Year. Let's see.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. Awesome. So this is Joyce Wakini, Another Fabulous Year, and it's a book for leaders. Maybe you can tell me what you think about the title, the cover.
Another Fabulous Year. I see the illustration actually. I see the lady. She's going into another, and there's light. There's too much darkness here, but into this year there is light. So that tells you it doesn't matter what the other year was about, but there is light into this year. Again, I think the wording is very it's a mindset. It's calling for a mind shift. So we are going into another fabulous year, and if you are starting the year from that perspective, then it's amazing. Stepping into the present of who you have decided to be this year in order to appreciate your life even more and build a legacy. So it's about bringing the who you are and whom you've appreciated yourself to be into this year and making it fabulous. Yes.
Awesome. So guys, power of a title, the power of a subtitle, the power of the cover, because you need to tell us a story before we even open the book, and the power of layout. I mean, don't convert your book from Word document and just PDF and take to the printer. Your readers will be able to tell that not much thought went into the design of the book. So it's very important to have that. And then maybe I will ask you 2 last questions. Then we look at some of the books from CLC US. Does this part, does it really matter, the back page where you have the summary of the book or the blurb and the author's bio? Is it important? Do readers come and check at the back? Should an author or a writer invest in that?
You have no idea how important it is. In fact, the question would have been how important.
Okay, so how important is the blurb or synopsis or the summary and the author's bio?
This is how important it is. I've just realized I know Joyce Wakini. Wow. I know her personally. She's actually a personal friend. It's just that I don't know that she has already done a book, So that is already an important thing because I'm able to connect with the author from what has been written at the back, and I'm able to appreciate really who is it that is, and is it someone that I can allow? Because there are people, by the way, I will not allow to speak into my life. So is it somebody I can allow to speak into my life? But then, this is the main thing that people use when deciding whether to buy a book, because it is a short synopsis of what the book is all about, So by reading what is written here, it should ideally encapsulate the entire message of the book, Of course, not giving it all because you can't do it here, but making it in such a way that I will want to read the book based on what has been written here. Now, the worst thing that you can do in this page is to have some obvious errors, is to have some typos, is to have some fonts that are not aligned. You can't afford to do that on this page, neither on the cover page. So that's why we must appreciate, so that we can be able to churn out the quality content that we want to do from an African perspective. It is okay to engage a professional. It is okay to understand how far do your strengths go, and beyond there, just engage somebody who can be able to bring in their strengths and their professionalism into it, so that we are churning good content. And I must say, we are not going to do this just for Africa. We need to do this for international. The way we are talking about these international titles, can our literature then also become international titles? And it starts from there. And then the other thing that then we'll need to really talk about is the marketing behind the book. When you're launching a book, when you've written the book, I always tell the authors, when they come to the bookstore, because they now want us to start, I will tell them, congratulations, you have done extremely well.
Yeah.
You are an author,
Yeah.
but now the work begins.
Starts. Actually, I had that conversation yesterday with someone.
Yes.
That the work has just begun.
Exactly.
Awesome. I think our time is up. I'm very privileged to have this chat with you. I'll be sharing more. We will post there what is also all the other books that are available. And it's been an honor to chat with you. I love the passion. I love the fire. I can tell you're in this for the long term, and it's a calling, it's a purpose. And so thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much, Muthoni. We are very happy with this partnership, and we pray that it's going to empower as many people and enlighten as many people. We are happy to have had you at the African Book Hub. Anytime that you're here, viewers, anytime that you're around here, or you can even make a deliberate attempt that you're going to visit us at the African Book Hub, we will be happy to have you, and we'll be able to just recommend the titles that we have to you, because we believe that they will be able to deepen your experiences of life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We look forward to having more chats with more business owners, so that we can be able to promote and celebrate our African authors, and also our African bookshops and bookshop owners, because we want to contribute towards building a reading culture. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.